Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about the invisible tripwires inside our own heads. These predictable mental glitches that can quietly and totally sabotage our financial decisions.
Have you ever found yourself holding on to a losing stock for way too long, just hoping, praying it would turn around? Or maybe you jumped on a hot tip, bought into a sure thing, only to watch it just completely crater? Yeah. If that sounds painfully familiar, trust me, you are in very good company.
See, the thing is, these aren't personal failings. It's not about you being bad with money. They're systematic errors in how we think, and they affect every single one of us. Our guide for this journey is Rolf Dobelli's fantastic book, which lays out these mental tripwires in such a clear and useful way.
So, what Dobelli's getting at is this. These errors aren't just, random oops moments. Nope. They are routine mistakes. They're predictable barriers to logical thinking that we all stumble over again and again. So let's look at two of the really big ones that can just wreak havoc on your investment portfolio.
Okay, first up, trap number 1. This one is all about our totally irrational inability to just let go of the past, even when holding on is costing us our future. You know this feeling. At its core, it's that nagging voice in your head that says, I've already put so much into this, I can't quit now. It's the voice that convinces you to throw good money after bad, all because you're trying to justify what you've already spent.
Dobelli gives us a perfect everyday example. Imagine you're an hour into a movie and it is just awful. The rational part of your brain is screaming, let's get out of here and save the next hour of our lives. But then the sunk cost fallacy whispers, hey, you paid for that ticket. You have to stay to get your money's worth. But here's the truth. That money is gone. It's a sunk cost. The only choice you actually have is how you're going to spend the rest of your evening. And this right here, this is where that same flawed logic becomes incredibly dangerous for investors. That one little thought, I've lost so much, I can't sell now, is probably one of the most expensive sentences in finance. The money you've lost is gone. It's in the past. It should have zero influence on your decision today.
So, why on earth do we do this? Well, it turns out we have this deep-seated need to appear consistent. Selling a stock at a loss feels like putting up a big sign that says, I made a mistake. And we hate that. So we'll keep pouring money into a failing project, just like the governments who kept funding the Concorde supersonic jet long after they knew it would never be profitable, all to avoid that painful moment of admitting failure.
Okay, so here is the absolute key. When you're looking at an investment, the price you paid for it, it's irrelevant. It's ancient history. You have to ask yourself one very honest question. Based on everything I know today, right now, would I buy this stock? And if the answer is no, then what you paid for it doesn't matter one bit.
All right, let's move on to our second trap. This one, Dobelli calls it the mother of all misconceptions. And honestly, he is not wrong. It is maybe the most dangerous and sneaky bias of them all.
So put simply, we don't really see the world as it is. We see the world as we already believe it to be. Our brain acts like a heat-seeking missile for information that supports our existing views, while it conveniently ignores, dismisses, or explains away anything that contradicts them. It's like wearing special glasses that only let you see the evidence that proves you're right.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. The legendary investor Warren Buffett himself points out that we are absolute masters at twisting new facts to keep our old beliefs safe and sound. This isn't some rare bug in our thinking, it's practically the default operating system for the human brain. There's this simple experiment that just shows this bias perfectly. Okay, so picture this. A professor shows a class the number sequence 2, 4, 6. Then he asks them to figure out the rule behind it. Almost everybody instantly thinks, the rule is add 2. So what do? They test numbers that confirm their theory. They'll try, how about 8? Professor says, yep, fits the rule. How about 10? Fits the rule. They keep confirming their idea, but they never actually solve the puzzle. The breakthrough only comes from the one student who does the exact opposite. He doesn't test 8, he actively tries to break his own hypothesis. He tests a number like 7. The professor says, yep, that fits the rule. Then he tries -2. Nope, doesn't fit. By searching for what was wrong with his idea, not what was right, he discovered the true, much simpler rule.
This is a fantastic piece of advice that writers give each other, and it's the perfect antidote to confirmation bias. For an investor, your darling is that cherished stock, that belief about the market you just hold so dear. And the advice is to be ruthless. You have to be willing to question it, to challenge it, to actively try and prove it wrong.
Okay, so we've identified two incredibly powerful mental traps. Now for the most important part, right? How do we actually fight back and start thinking a little more clearly about our money?
So let's just put these two side by side. It really boils down to this. The sunk cost fallacy, that's all about being changed to the past, to the money you've already spent. Confirmation bias, that's about being changed to your existing beliefs, to the ideas you've already bought into. Both of them totally distort your view of what's really happening now.
Building up your defense really starts with awareness. So first things first, just accept that these glitches are hardwired into all of us. For sunk costs, you have to explicitly ask yourself, is the money I already spent clouding my judgment today? And for confirmation bias, you have to do something that feels totally unnatural. You have to actively hunt for opinions that disagree with you. You got to be like Charles Darwin. He knew our brains love to just forget facts that contradict our theories, so he made a special point to immediately write down any observation that challenged his ideas.
And you know, this is the really beautiful takeaway from Dobelli's work. Getting better results as an investor isn't always about finding the next brilliant idea or being smarter than everybody else. A lot of the time, the biggest wins come from just avoiding these predictable, systematic, and really costly errors in our own thinking.
And that's our explainer. So we're going to leave you with one final and maybe a little provocative thought. Take a good hard look at your own portfolio, at your own beliefs about the market. Which one of your cherished investment darlings is it maybe time to murder?